Okay, then you yourself, you say life is an endless continuum. With the past rejuvenated in the present, even if we are not aware of it. But what I find is that the new presentation seems not to provide a bridge for people to walk into the new nowness. And so many seem to be stuck because they are afraid to be rootless as their past is completely swept away and their feet will be dangling in the air, sort of as they grapple with a new position on the ground, which is the new presentation. So, does it not look like the pronouncements of the new presentation are scary as the past is proclaimed dead and buried? So, there is what I want to ask is there a way to provide a gentle transition for those stuck in the past to take a leap? Yeah, because I ask this because the new presentation position seems to be what I may call in an extreme way boastful and unfriendly. Yeah, so if we can provide a bridge for those who are stuck in the past to cross over, I think the message will reach many more people. But you find that many people, especially maybe people of the corporation, talk to some friends, they say, oh, if I get there, I will lose all my initiations. Or, the initiations are fake. First of all, they are fake. But you see, people are stuck in this past. And so they cannot move, they cannot see what is being presented. So is there a way for a bridge to help these people who are fossilized?
Well, yes, and actually, the one of the experiences that Sam shared yesterday, one of the last ones, where the individual is standing at the top of creation and looking down and seeing all the lava and everything and the blackness everywhere, and then on the other side of this, a few feet away or whatever, was Ava and I standing, and basically the experience ended. Well, it was him to decide to take the leap. Again, it was his decision. And so here's a fun little scenario. Let's take the initiations. Let's have fun with this, Charles. Okay, you always make it fun. Okay. So I think of little ways to. I look at little ways. Really, it's not really think, but I look at little ways to. Okay, how am I going to approach this and make it kind of fun at the same time? So let's say we're talking to an echist. Say you're talking to an echist, and he sees that you're in the new presentation, and let's say he kind of likes it. He goes, well, I kind of like these ideas, but at the same time, Duane's really funny, and yes, he seems to be boastful, and he seems to be all this stuff and whatever. Okay, why? Because we say we're wonderful. Okay, we're boastful. All right. I remember I used to tell my girlfriend that, and after a while, she goes, "You are wonderful." I go, "Yeah." And I tell people that as they get in this for a while, and all of a sudden they start to recognize what's going on. And I tell them, I say, I tricked you into being wonderful, didn't I? And they say, yes, you did. You tricked me. And this is what the boys do. This is how life is. It's a wake up. So let's say we're talking to an echist, and he talks about, this person talks about their initiations. It's like, well, and let's say that they're kind of looking at the new presentation. It's like, but I don't want to lose my initiations. Okay, so really, what is the idea that the person is really talking about? Fear. Okay, because Again, what do initiations equal as an example? And this is to prepare you. I prepare myself to talk to these people. And really what makes sense? What is an initiation? Is it this divine idea that's set in stone? That sounds so cool. Is it? Or is it really a reference to what you've experienced so far? Is it really that, or is it something else that I'm not seeing here? Again, let them explain. And so, really, what are the initiations? It's a culmination of the individual's experience. If they leave the corporation and they lose all their initiations, do they change in some way? Do they shrink? Do they become smaller? Again, all these factors or anything they can think of, are they all of a sudden cursed, etc.? No, none of these things are occurring. So what are the initiations really? They're really nothing. They're really nothing at all. They equal experience. And so I would ask the person, well, are these initiations important to you? Say, I'd have a little fun with it. And they would probably say, yes, they are. Well, then I would suggest that, okay, see, again, they've decided their reality. That's their position in life. And I'm not going to talk them out of it. Because if they feel that their initiations are more important than real freedom, then you got them. You've decided it. The boys can't pull you. Again, the sunlight can't convince you of otherwise. So again, the bridge, okay, always looking for ways to, really many times what you're saying is that how can we make these people recognize what we're doing? Well, guess what? We can't.
That's it.
Yeah, we can't, because again, they have free will. You have to see how they must decide. And all you can do is creatively present it and have fun with it. And really, when they make statements, you listen to how a person talks. Listen to every word they say. A question is one thing. Well, gee, tell me about the new presentation. And, what is Duane doing? Or what is this? Or, how do you fit into it? Those are questions. But when they start making statements like, well, I follow Harry. I like being a member. I want the next initiation. Those are statements. And those are decisions that they've already made. You might say those are set in stone. So I'm not a salesman, okay? I'm not a used car salesman. So I'm not going to sit there and talk them out of what they've decided. If I'm selling Fords and they're at my dealership and they're telling me about the Chevy that they like better than the Ford, well, I'm not a used car salesman. I'm not going to sit there and try and talk them into the Ford. Okay, a car salesman will. I won't. I'll just say, okay, have fun. Because really, respectfully, I'm respecting their decision. And really, it's not my concern. That's their life. That's their business. Their free will is their life. So that becomes the difference. So where is it that we can create something that is so-called a bridge? Well, realistically, there's no such thing at all. The bridge is created according to the individual, not to us. We are the presenters. They create the bridge to what we're doing. You see, we don't create that bridge. We present it to the world. We're the sun shining. If you want to get from the earth to the sun is not going to build the rocket ship or the flying saucer. The little people on the earth have to do that, don't they? They got to build the flying saucer or the rocket to get to the sun. The sun ain't going to do that. See, we're the sun shining. We're the presenters, you see? I've made it simple. It's really very simple and fun. So this is our fun adventure to present it in certain ways that you might say attract them, because we are wonderful. We are the sun shining, and we already know that. And just like the experience that Sam shared in the beginning of yesterday's group, to where one of the Asian gals, sweetheart, she shared that, she asked Rebazar. She said, show me what's real. And so he did. He took her on a journey into this dark, dark place somewhere. Doesn't matter where. And it was all very dark. But then all of a sudden she saw these lights here and there, whatever. And he just simply took her there and showed her. And he said, basically, see, those who are reading Duane's books and doing the new you, they are the light. They are the only light. Nobody else. In all the darkness. And he said to her, basically, he said, see, you wanted the demonstration, you want to see it, you're seeing it for yourself. There is nothing else here in creation. Everything else is dark and black. And so you get the idea, I would say now, Charles. We are the presenters. The new presentation makes sense. We don't build bridges for people. They build the bridge. But guess what? When they decide to build the bridge, just that decision, just decide that. Just like I've decided to go on my funding adventures. Just by the very fact that I decide that, zoom, the boys step up and they put it all together for me. That's how it works. Well, that individual decides intently and honorably and sincerely, especially, to really take the risk. The boys come in and they do build the bridge, you see. But that individual has to decide that. But in the meantime, we're on the other side of the shore. We're across the river or across the sea or whatever, across the river. You know, it's like that old song, Running Bear, Love Little White Dove. Eventually he jumped into the river, you know, and they met halfway, etc. The rest of the song's not too cool, but it had a good tune to it. But anyhow, that's what it is. That decision is very big, and this is what you need to recognize. It's not about the old stuff or the ideas that people carry. It's about what they decide, and then the boys will be there. They're more than happy, just like your parents. When you go through high school, and many times the parents say, if they can afford it, hey, if you go to college, we'll support you. But you have to decide to go. And sometimes the kids go, no, I don't want to go. Well, then we're not supporting you. See, no bridge is built. But when you decide, the boys will be there. They will start to build the bridges for the individual. They will build the bridge. Yes. And they can see the sincerity and the intent. So there's what you refer to, Charles. So, but as long as the individual has made the statements and they are intent on holding on to these old ideas. So again, you can ask them, you can say something, you can have a little fun, say, do you really like these old ideas that you've always come to know? Do you see that they're going to, help you accomplish with what you want? If you want real freedom, how is it that you can hold on to something to where you're not free? Where is it that the restrictions that you're agreeing to equal real freedom for you? So this is where you take the risk. And just like in the third Indiana Jones, when he walked across the crevice there, it was already there, but he just had to take the step, didn't he? He had to take the risk. So he's looking at the little book, and it says this and that. And it's like, oh, and then he figured out, it's like, oh, it's belief. But it's really not belief. It's not that he believes that something is there to support him. It already is there. Through his belief, it didn't appear. Oh, I believe it'll appear. Like they believe Jesus will appear. No, it was already there. He just couldn't see it. Then all of a sudden he did see it. And he walked across the crevice and met the old guy that's been hanging around there being bored for 700 years as the guardian of the cups, whatever, okay, for those that saw it. Yeah, there's the idea. See, it's already there. But the individual has to decide. You see, the bridge is already there. It is already there, Charles. It really is. But it's that decision that makes it so, that makes it real to where the individual takes that step into the unknown. It's always into the unknown. Yes, it's not known. The bigger part of life is unknown. But everybody wants a guarantee. Well, as long as they do, good luck. You create your own guarantees. So I would say that what we're presenting, yes, you got to figure it out. And is there a right way or wrong way, or is there a set course to it? No. No, there's really no set course. Just start taking something and kind of figure it out little by little. Pretty soon, just like when we were little kids when we were like 1 year old or 2 years old. We played with blocks and Legos and whatever. We stacked them up. Eventually, by stacking them up, taking them apart, whatever, knocking them over, what have you, all right, then building them again, we started to figure it out, didn't we? So, but we did something. We created, we activated that. So we're already there, Charles. The world is questioning us because they cannot see us. And so until they stop questioning and just take the risk, then they'll see what it's all about. It's all about, stepping into the unknown, and then it becomes known. It already is. That's the best part of it. So like never before, yes, we're the quagmire here, but actually we're real. We're wonderful and boastful, and all these ideas that people have. Well, in a way we are. The boys are, they exaggerate themselves to try and get people's attention. Yes, we do. And we're a little bit funny and obnoxious at times, yes. And I would say the stuff that we're doing, and just like in the beginning, all those Joni and Harry cartoons, bothered you and others. But now, and I remember Ava when we first met, and I would say certain things. Well, let's put this on Facebook, or let's do this, Ava. She didn't want to do it. She would say, "Oh, that's a bomb. That's going to be a bomb." And I go, "I know it's going to be a bomb, but let's see what happens." Now, she's, she confronts everything, like Kelsey and others, etc. She's like, "Okay, let's do it." We're harmless, but what we're proposing is not ordinary or standard. That's what seems to be scary. It's like, why, gee, you guys aren't ordinary or standard. Yes, but we are wonderful, and everything we present is wonderful. Look at the images that are created. Ava and I sit for hours and days and years doing these images for everybody, and look at the awesome imagery that we're creating like nobody else. And look where it points to. Something just totally wonderful and real and purely sincere, like nobody else. Yes, but you got to do it. And so that becomes the decision. So the individual themselves, Charles, each individual, each one of us must create our own bridge to whatever we decide. We don't create the bridges for the world. They create the bridges to us. We're in a unique position, and they have to decide how to get to us. They got to figure it out in some way. They got to do something. And so it's just like the first day of college. Yeah, the individual, wants to know what he's getting into. And here you have a reference, you see. And the more people that step up, people are seeing what we're into. And all of a sudden, they're starting to recognize it. But the first day of school or college, it's a little bit scary. It's like you don't know what you're getting into. You don't really know what the class is about. But as you go through it, all of a sudden it reveals itself to you. And as people step up, as they decide to, it reveals itself. But the boys are there. I see them on the real side. It's like in a split second, zoom. They're right there. They do everything they can for the individual. They actually just complete it for them. And then what they do is they give them the tour. As they do the New You session, this is where all of a sudden, on the real side, they're given the tour of, what will assist them in recognizing this isness. You see? They're already on it. So, but the individual must decide. They have free will. I see it with myself in everything I decide. I've seen them stand there many times. And it's like I got to flip the switch. And then they're on it. They just boing, they do it. But I have to decide. They're waiting for me to decide. So, that's the fun part. So you make it fun. And you have a little fun with these people that talk about these things. Because, it's scary to them. But realistically, it's the fear factor. All these things that have been created with these systems, that's why it's so dark and gloomy and drugged down and tap-lined here, because people have agreed to all these restrictions that equal nothing, and they don't see that. They've come accustomed to agreeing with restriction, that is some kind of benefit. Just like the world we're in. It's like all of a sudden all these poisons, mercury, barium, lithium, aluminum, byproducts, etc. These are all good for you now. This is nuts. This is where the world is. And so to creatively present this in a way, yeah, but now you understand better. They must decide to build that bridge to us. Yes. And Paul said it too. He referred to it in the way that you must, raise your consciousness. You must decide to do that. Life is not going to do that. But it's more than consciousness, because consciousness is in creation. It's something created. And this is where you recognize. So you don't have to make the effort to try and raise things up. No, it's not about raising anything up. But that was the reference at that time, because that was the babysitting days, okay? Just like when you're in preschool, you had certain references and ideas. Now we're into the reality to where it becomes even better, because you wake up to it and it's an isness. And again, that's UP. So universal position. It's a nowness. It's an isness. But it's not up to us for the world to recognize it. But we're all over the place. And the definitions of what is provided is more so. But again, you have to see it. And those that are in the literal sense, that have proclaimed their literal reality, and they will not budge from that literal reality, they won't see it. So yes, the new house is built for a person, a brand new house. But if they don't move from the old house, they'll never see the new house. That's a decision they must make. They must stand up, get out of their sleepy bed, walk outside, see the sunshine, and then see the new house, across the field or wherever it is. And they must walk over there and make that effort to do that. We don't do that part. But we've already built the house. Everything that the new presentation can be is basically already done. I just keep adding to it. That's all. It's just like another coat of paint on the house. We can add 10 more coats of paint. But the thing is, it's already here. It's already done. And so we're just having fun creating more reference to what is already done. And it's already done throughout all of creation. The boys have already done it. Everything is ready. The university, the Vessel Project, everything is already done. And so we're just, having the challenge of bringing it in more so to this physical place. But it's already done. Everything everybody needs is already done. But if they want to cling to Harry, they want to cling to religions and the Pope, his ideas, and the gods, etc., the Kellam God, and all these interesting things, well, that's their choice too. You cannot pull them from that. That's the fine line. Yeah, so the bridge idea, again, yeah, everybody creates their own bridge. They must do that. See, again, this is the old God idea, and most people, see, they don't realize that. And I remember when Val came in and we started talking about things, and eventually he realized, oh, I got to do this. Yeah, see? Yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, Harry's not doing it for you anymore. Of course, he never really did, and Jesus really didn't do it for you either, even though you believe that he did. No, you have to do it. You have to decide. You have to step up. And so as long as people are holding on to the same old considerations that someone else is going to do it for them, someone else is going to decide and live their life accordingly, well, then they're always going to be carrying that restriction. And that's all it is. It's just a restriction until they step up. The best part is that you decide your real freedom. And we're just simply showing you how to do it. But anybody can do it on their own, etc. But I like the reality of that I recognize others and they recognize me and we support each other. That's what the boys do. All I'm doing is demonstrating what they're doing and what the whole of life is doing, and that is that when we decide to support the whole of life, in other words, and the boys are a reference to that. And so as I decide to promote them and support them, they in turn support me. But everybody's not going to see that. They have to decide to do that. You see, and just like the membership, oh yeah, they know about Rebazar and the boys. And what do we refer to all the time out there? Ask Rebazar Tars, ask Paul Twitchell. I mean, it's all over. It's blatant. And do they? No, they don't. They go ask Joni and Harry. Okay, see, that's their decision. So can the boys create a bridge for them to see what we're doing? No, because they've decided they would rather ask Harry and Joni. They'd rather stay right where they're at. And the people in religions and the people in the military and the government, whatever, they're self-deciding. But we're everywhere. We're providing the opportunity. And actually, I would say, you came through the membership in Eckankar. Look at that funny word that Paul chose, Eckankar. You know why he chose that? Because it's radical and it's different. But at the same time, it's nuts. And then he brought in the word Sugmon. That's really crazy. But he did that for a reason. He was being radical. I would say that what we have is not only better, of course it is, much, much better, but it's so much simpler. We're referring to the all-natural environment. We're not referring to some crazy idea. I remember, talking about Eckankar, and, nobody knew what it was. And when they heard that word, it's like, whoa, what is that? What is Eckankar? They even made bumper stickers in Paul's days that said, what is Eckankar on them? I remember those bumper stickers. And so that was the marketing end of it at that time. Comparatively, I would say Joni's very brave for continually using the Eckankar word because it's nuts. But now it's voodoo. Okay, it's all voodoo. It really is what it is. It is voodoo. And so what we're presenting, the new presentation and the all-natural environment, supporting the all-natural environment, gee, that's so cool. And they can't figure it out. That's hilarious. Yes, Charles, thank you for asking. See, we're already wonderful. It's that simple.
Thank you, Jim.
I think I continually will say it's terrific, the questions you come up with, because I see them as very important. Please keep bringing them because, people need to know these things, and they need a better definition continually. But again, the definitions and the writings and what I say and others say, they're references to the isness. That's the best part. And again, as we stand being to being with each other, the very few of us in this world that recognize each other, that's the best part too, because that's all we have. Compare that to all that you've been through and what you're going through. Basically, in the personal sense, you're just growing old. That's it. That's all you'll have in a whole basket full of memories. That's it. That's all people have to go on for lifetime to lifetime. That's why they drag them along. All they have is memories. They don't see the reality of this isness. Can you imagine a position for yourself that outdoes everything else? Can you just simply imagine that? Well, guess what? It's even better than that because it's more real than that. And your imagination can't even see it all the way. It can only hint to it. It's even better than that. That's the reality of life. It's even better than we can ever comprehend or even recognize. Yeah. But we must decide that instead of the chaos that we're living in here and keep agreeing to. Yeah. See, that's what it is. It's just a decision. It's that simple. And eventually, it shows up. Yeah, so thank you for showing up, Charles. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Charles. Yes, and be sure and say hello to Miriam. We see everything that's going on all the time over there, and it's wonderful. You kids are having fun, and I know it's a challenge, but just keep it up. And result is everybody's going to become more aware, but the best part is the challenge, because we need this challenge to become more aware. So it's all part of it. It's all okay.